Welcome to College Briefing. The content of the briefing includes Hong Kong plans sustainable finance training event for Asian officials in June. Oklahoma's oldest Native American school, Bacone College, is threatened by debts in disrepair. AI work-free society may not be happier, says Banerjee of MIT. Caldwell leads Southeastern Louisiana over McNeese 77-74. Zagorowski leads Stonehill over Wagner 71-61, ending 10-game skid. Hong Kong plans sustainable finance training event for Asian officials in June. South China Morning Post. Hong Kong will host a 3-day sustainable finance training event in June for policymakers, regulators, and finance professionals from developing countries. The event, organized by the Beijing-based Institute of Finance and Sustainability, the Hong Kong Monetary Authority, and the Capacity Building Alliance of Sustainable Investment, will aim to help emerging markets enhance their knowledge and skills in sustainable finance. The event will include in-person sessions, online courses, and webinars, and will cover topics such as policymaking, regulation, sustainable finance instruments, carbon markets, and sustainability disclosures verification. Oklahoma's oldest Native American school, Bacone College, is threatened by debts in disrepair. Associated Press. Bacone College, the oldest continuously operating college in Oklahoma, may be forced to close its doors unless it can raise millions of dollars. Founded in 1880 as a Baptist missionary college aimed at assimilating Native American students, Bacone College transformed into an indigenous-led institution. Throughout the 20th century, it was best known for its Native American art program, which produced some of the most important indigenous artists of their time. However, Bacone has been plagued by poor financial decisions and inconsistent leadership for decades, and has faced accusations of embezzlement, fraud, and intimidation. The college has also struggled to maintain its accreditation. Last year, Bacone's finances were severely affected by a lawsuit, leading to the suspension of classes for the spring semester. While the college's interim president Nikki Michael hopes the suspension will only be temporary, Bacone College will likely have to close permanently unless it can raise the necessary funds. AI work-free society may not be happier, says Banerjee of MIT. Nikkei Asia. Abhijit Banerjee, a Nobel laureate and professor at MIT, believes that public investment in artificial intelligence, AI, for education is necessary to prepare for a future in which jobs will be lost to automation. Banerjee notes that technology has played a role in widening the wealth gap, with high-skilled workers seeing their wages rise while low-skilled workers' wages remain stagnant. He suggests that AI can be used to transform education by enabling interactive learning and personalized instruction. Banerjee also highlights other potential applications of AI, such as improving access to healthcare in areas with low-quality care. However, he cautions that while technology has made certain aspects of life more convenient, it has not necessarily made people happier. Banerjee raises concerns about the negative impacts of social media and the stress and anxiety caused by constant exposure to images of others' success and consumption. He also questions the notion that universal basic income would lead to increased happiness and suggests that people struggle to occupy themselves without work. Banerjee emphasizes the need to consider the relationship between technology and human happiness as advancements continue to reshape the labor market. Caldwell leads Southeastern Louisiana over McNeese 77-74. Associated Press. Southeastern Louisiana held off McNeese in a close game, winning 77-74. Nick Caldwell led the Lions with 16 points and 8 rebounds, while Roger McFarlane and Roscoe Eastman added 15 points each. C.J. Felder scored 16 points off the bench for McNeese, while Christian Shumate and Shaida Wells contributed 15 points each. Javon Garcia had 12 points and 6 assists. Zagorowski leads Stonehill over Wagner 71-61, ending 10-game skid. Associated Press. Stonehill College's basketball team, the Skyhawks, ended their 10-game losing streak with a 71-61 victory over Wagner. Max Zagorowski led the team with 20 points, while Tony Felder and Jackson Benini both scored 11. Melvin Council Jr. was the top scorer for Wagner with 19 points. Davis double-double guides Delaware past Monmouth 84-80. Associated Press. Delaware defeated Monmouth 84-80 in a college basketball game on Saturday. Jair Davis led Delaware with 19 points and 12 rebounds, while Kevin Riley and Christian Ray contributed 13 points each. Xander Rice led Monmouth with 24 points and 5 assists. Research Center opens to help Coorong and river communities cope with climate change. ABC. The Coorong, Lower Lakes, and Murray Mouth, CLLMM, Research Center has officially opened in South Australia after receiving funding nearly 5 years ago. The center, run by the Goiter Institute for Water Research, will focus on climate change and adaptation research. It aims to bring together First Nations people, community members, and governments to discuss priorities for the region and collaborate on solutions. The center will also work with citizen scientists and children to protect the environment. The center includes an augmented reality sandbox that can display data on topography, salinity, and water quality. Sunday's time schedule. Associated Press. This article provides a schedule of sports events happening on Sunday, February 4th. The events include the Pro Bowl games, NBA games, PWHL games, college basketball games, golf tournaments, and tennis tournaments. Pitino, NCAA enforcement arm a joke that's of no value anymore and should be disbanded. Associated Press. Hall of Fame basketball coach Rick Pitino believes that the NCAA's enforcement staff should be disbanded due to the increasing legal disputes over the use of name, image, and likeness compensation in college athletics. Pitino argues that the NCAA's attempt to regulate member schools is futile and that the current landscape of college sports, including free agency and the transfer portal, makes it difficult to build a consistent program. He also suggests that college athletes should be paid because they are essentially professional athletes. Auburn star apologizes to Morgan Freeman after thinking actor was Ole Miss fan trying to rattle him. The Toronto Star. During a basketball game between Auburn and Mississippi, Auburn player Johnny Broome accidentally brushed off the hand of a fan sitting courtside who turned out to be Morgan Freeman. Initially, Broome thought the fan was an Ole Miss supporter trying to distract him, but he quickly realized it was the famous actor. Broome apologized to Freeman, who reassured him and told him to keep playing. Auburn went on to win the game. Numbats in the wild doing better than expected despite prescribed burn with dire consequences. ABC. A study led by the Department of Biodiversity, Conservation and Attractions, DBCA, and the University of Western Australia, UWA, has estimated that the wild numbat population in Western Australia is much higher than previously believed. It was previously thought that fewer than 1,000 numbats remained in two wild populations in the south of the state, but the study estimates that there is a population of just under 2,000 in the Upper Warren region alone. The study used motion sensor cameras to capture images of the elusive species and identified individual numbats using their stripe patterns. Beijing uses pinyin terms to double down on its claims over South China Sea. South China Morning Post. China has increased its use of pinyin, the romanization of Mandarin script, when referring to disputed islands and reefs in the South China Sea. This move is seen as an attempt to bolster China's territorial claims to the waterway. The Chinese Foreign Ministry and state media have replaced previous English names with pinyin terms. For example, the Spratly Islands are now referred to as Nansha Chuandao instead of Nansha Islands. The change in terminology reflects Beijing's long-term strategy of normalizing the idea of Chinese sovereignty over its maritime claims. However, China's neighbors have resisted adopting Beijing's terms and continue to use their own local terms to counter China's expansionism. The Philippines refers to the waterway as the West Philippine Sea, Vietnam calls it the East Sea, and Indonesia refers to it as the North Natuna Sea. China's use of pinyin terms is also an attempt to guard against accepting traditional Western names for the islands and reefs. Beijing has previously named geographical features in the South China Sea to assert its claims. Ivani Jim scores 21 as number 19 Gonzaga hits school record 19 threes in 104-39 win over Pacific. Associated Press. Gonzaga women's basketball team won its 30th straight home game, defeating Pacific with a record-breaking 19 three-pointers and a score of 104-39. The Bulldogs have won 16 straight games this season and 15 straight over the Tigers, with this being the second-largest winning margin in the program's history. In a throttling from number 9 Marquette, the Hoyas sink to a new low. Washington Post. Georgetown may share a conference with Marquette. But right now, the Hoyas aren't in the same league as the number 9 Golden Eagles. El Salvador votes in presidential election that the world's coolest dictator has clear path to win. The Toronto Star. Salvadorans are going to the polls in a presidential and legislative election that is largely about the trade-off between security and democracy. Nayib Bukele, who is almost certainly headed for a second term as president, has gained fame for his brutal crackdown on gangs. While his administration is accused of committing widespread human rights abuses, violence has also plummeted, in a country known just a few years ago as one of the most dangerous in the world. And that's a wrap for today's news. Let's quickly recap what we've learned. 1. Hong Kong will host a sustainable finance training event in June, aimed at helping developing countries enhance their knowledge and skills in sustainable finance. 2. Bacone College, Oklahoma's oldest Native American school, is facing financial difficulties and may have to close permanently unless it can raise millions of dollars. 3. Abhijit Banerjee of MIT believes that public investment in AI for education is necessary, but cautions that an AI-driven work-free society may not necessarily make people happier. 4. Southeastern Louisiana, Stonehill College, and Delaware emerged victorious in their respective basketball games. 5. The Coorong, Lower Lakes, and Murray Mouth Research Centre has opened in South Australia, focusing on climate change and adaptation research in the region. 6. Rick Pitino, a Hall of Fame basketball coach, believes that the NCAA's enforcement staff should be disbanded, and college athletes should be paid. 7. Auburn player Johnny Broome accidentally brushed off the hand of a fan sitting courtside, who turned out to be Morgan Freeman. Broome apologized to Freeman, who told him to keep playing. 8. A study estimates that the wild numbat population in Western Australia is higher than previously believed, suggesting a more positive outlook for the species. 9. China has increased its use of pinyin terms to assert its claims over disputed islands and reefs in the South China Sea, but neighboring countries continue to use their own local terms. 10. The Gonzaga women's basketball team won their 30th straight home game, with a record-breaking 19 three-pointers. 11. Georgetown suffered a heavy defeat against Marquette, highlighting the difference in skill between the two teams. 12. El Salvador is holding a presidential and legislative election, with incumbent President Nayib Bukele expected to win a second term. Well, that's all for today, folks. Remember, while AI and technology continue to reshape our world, let's not forget that true happiness comes from more than just convenience and material success. Let's strive for a balance that brings both progress and well-being. Now, it's over to you. What are your thoughts on today's news? Do you have any questions or comments? Let's hear them. Thank you for tuning in. The content above showcases the latest briefing reports and analytical synopses, thoughtfully curated by the 6Do team. These insights stem from a wide array of reputable media outlets, think tanks, government sources, and specialized experts worldwide. We encourage you to explore these sources for a comprehensive perspective. Keep in mind that while the content may not always align with the official standpoint of 6Do Brief, it's not meant to be taken as absolute directives for decision-making. Comprising seasoned media professionals, learned scholars, and accomplished scientists, the 6Do team embodies a trailblazing, fully independent media entity. To customize 6Do Brief to meet your professional needs, you have the option to subscribe to a diverse array of briefings on our website, 6dobrief.com. Regardless of your location, you can conveniently receive 6Do Brief via email.